All right, let me get my microphone going. So, yep, get my microphone going. So, the date is the 21st of June 2022. The time is 9:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And just got back in with my son. The two of us went for a walk. And as we're walking, we're talking because the situation happened right before we left with a representation of Greenwin Corp. And there's a time assigned to every stronghold or strong man or those who believe they're above people. So there's an assigned time to deal with that Greenwin rep and trust and believe. When that time comes, it's not going to be a shock because it's been long overdue, but time has been given her the ability to reshape and reposition her attitude. So I'm gonna deal with that. We're gonna address that. But this is for documentation because after I received that disrespectful communication from that Greenwin web, and it's not the first or second time. It's a pattern of just disrespect to tenants. And Greenwin has been aware of it and they've been allowing it. So they've been rewarding her type of leadership. So this is not a, oh my gosh, we don't know. So, but we're going to address that because trust me, there's a shift happening. For the past 2 years, there's been this energy that has been wanting to reinforce that we are like bottom feeders, right? And that's because those at the bottom that is sustaining society has allowed this energy to keep going, but not on my watch. See, you can do that over there and in your environment, but not here, because I would always check it. I would always remind you and your energy that that doesn't fly over here. That could be somewhere else. And energies that Greenwin and many corporations, they hire property management that likes to assert that type of behavior and the demeanor. They have leadership that like to assert that demeanor of very being condescending, as if they're doing you a favor, forgetting that without the foundation, without the people, you don't have your job, you don't have your shares, you don't have your income bracket that makes you live outside of where your people are. So I'm going to address that. Trust and believe, Greenwin. Trust and believe. It's going to be addressed. It's going to be addressed. You know, there's always a moment in time where there is that ignite or that spark that just lights the whole goddamn thing up. It's just like you're just waiting, and the enemy knows there's going to be one thing. And so it's looking for the one thing or the one person, or where is it, so they can light it out. So they send their peoples to be in all of the different places to see when something's popping up to quench it. But trust me, trust me. So after I got that very disrespectful communication from Greenwin, a representation of Greenwin, very disrespecting, very rude. And we're going to address it. We're going to show it all. We're going to show it all because there is always an assigned time. After dealing with that, and I laughed, I said, you know what? Let's get going because we had promised to go for a walk anyways. Promised to go out. So we were going to go out to go and visit a friend out in Don Valley. And as a result of unexpected changes in schedules, we rescheduled that for another time. So I said to my son, okay, let's do something else. So we went for the walk. And as we're going for the walk, we met some other tenants in the area. And we're talking and we're like, yeah, there's just energy that really believes. And it believes that because it has come this far. Even with 2020, 2021, the elites and those really saw that, wow, we can get away with just being rude and we can get away with telling these people they are insignificant. We can actually, like before we were, but no, we can actually get away with making people feel that they are of no consequence, they are of no regard. Like, who are you? You're just bottom feeders. We are the elite. So myself and other residents, as we're like, yeah. And I said, trust and believe. There's a time assigned to every Humpty Dumpty that sits on a wall. There is a time for every Humpty Dumpty that sits on a wall. Because trust me. So as my son and I are walking and we're talking, and he's also relating to things in his age that's also popping up. He was like, Mom, where are we walking to again? I'm like, I don't know. We're just going. So we turned around and we went back, and then we're just going with his flow. Like, where do you want to go? North, south, west? Where are we going to go? So we're going to come back, and he said, no, let's go this way. So as we're going, he said, hey, Mom, let's pick up something on the road. I'm like, okay, let's do for a treat. So he said, let's do pizza. Okay. So we go over there. We got in the store. He ordered his stuff. And I said, while I'm standing, I said, you know what? Remember, I forgot when we did this. This was, I think, was Christmas or after Christmas. I don't know, a long time ago. And I said, you know what? I need to go next door to the convenience store because we never checked our tickets. We never checked our tickets. And something said, yeah, because you're just in and out. And so I said, you know what? Order. And I gave him my card. And I said, just tap it. And I'm going to check the tickets and come back. And then I said, you know what? No. So I said, excuse me. They came to the front. I said, order. We go. So I stood there and he was just ordering. He ordered 2 pizzas. Usually it's one. He got 2 pizzas. And he got a stuffed crust and forgot what else he got. And then the guy goes, you know, and he goes, oh, and there's ranch dressing. And then he got a drink. So when we're done now, the total came up to $32.32. So him and I were just like, even the cashier, just the guy on the cashier was just like $32.32. I'm like, $32.32, right on the money. $32.32, right here, if you could see it. $32.32. I was like, okay. 3 plus 2, 5. 3 plus 2, 5. 5 and 5, 10. Reset. Start over. The 2s are also popping up, and the 1s, because actually 1 starting all over. 10, reset. And I see 2s, and I know 2s is a very strong number as well. So I'm like, okay. So even everybody's there, even the owner was there, and she's just like, and she was talking, she's just like talking to the workers there, and we all were just like, that's like the whole shop. We're just like, okay. I'm like, hey. So she's like, yo, you gotta play your numbers. You gotta. I was like, 32.32. Okay. So we left them preparing the stuff. We went next door. And when we go next door to check out the number, to check out the tickets, I thought I had 2. The first one came up, no winner. Okay, rip that up. The next one, $2. My son is just like, we're like, 2 again. Okay, great. So we're like, $2, $32.32, 3 plus 2, 10, the reset, 2s and starting over. 2s and starting over. All started as a result of this strong energy wanting to assert itself over an energy that knows who it is. And I spoke back to it and I said, Greenwin Representative, you are on borrowed time. And then my son and I went for a walk. And before we went for a walk, we met other residents, and they also said, that person is known, just their time. I'm like, yeah, don't worry. They're on borrowed time. Because time is going to come knocking on their door, reminding them that time has no respect of person, eh? It's only mankind who has assigned value to other human beings based on your income bracket, based on your pay rate, based on where you live. You have been fooled by this system that told you that you treat people based on their value system that the world has evaluated, that the world has done a processing of determining the value of each human being. And that's based on a man structure. And many has actually bought into that, where they have really believed that certain people are of higher value. So you treat certain human beings based on the value system that has been attached to their title or their man-made currency. And after I've already addressed that, I went out and all these pop up. So then I said to my son, I said, we're going to remember this moment, remember this time. And I said, we're going to document it. And right before I read that disrespectful email from an energy that's wanting to assert itself over my energy, and I just laughed back and I was like, woo. You're on borrowed time and your time is up today. You're on borrowed time because everybody has a time. And after I responded to that energy energetically and put it back in its place in time, right before that is when I uploaded that video that you see on my page. And that was an earlier recording of a test that was sent to me in the midst of a business conversation, being my integrity being tested. And that was like a no-brainer. I was like, nah, yeah, I appreciate that. However, no, we're not going to do that. I am not going to do that. So today seemed to be a very special day in energies testing the I am within me. Today seemed to be a day where things are just being thrown to really knock on the door and say, are you really who you say you are? Well, it's time to show and prove. And it's like, I don't need to show and prove. That's I am who I am because the I am told me who I am. So I am who I am. And who I am is integrity, unapologetic, that would always back up energies that wants to assert themselves higher than the I am, telling I am. You got it twisted. That's the masses out there, not this one here. That's the masses out there that has somehow got you twisted in your conduct, that you really believe that you could send an email electronically and not care, and you feel so confident in your pompous, arrogant state that you could just flap that off and not care about repercussions because you've been in a corporate environment that has reinstated that in the culture. Oh, because Doug Ford was reinstated again, you really, really, really believe the confirmation as a result of those that reinstated him and brought more. You really believe that, God damn it, we can talk to them any and anyhow. They are under our thumb. They are beneath us. Really? Oh, baby girl, baby girl, baby girl. No, that's the masses out there. No, my dear. Be very careful of perception. The same way your type of energies was successful in creating a perception to the masses, you are also falling for the same error. You're moving under a perception. As a result of what happened, you are moving under a perception, because what was painted, what the imagery that was presented, really have you convinced that this is such, this is so. Be very careful of perception, my dear. Be very, very careful. That which you use to win, that same energy is not a respecter of teaching you a lesson about perception. False imagery really coming to you as reality, and you're living in this reality that is not real. The reality that you elites are in, you know it's not real. You know it's only a matter of time. So that's why you're going around keeping on pumping in that lie, because you have to keep it up, because you know that's not real. You know everybody's not on board. You know everybody's not happy. You know everybody's not complying because they really believe you. You know it. You know many of these people that are immigrating over to Canada isn't coming because they love Canada. It's because they are running away from. But if you left their country alone and you actually stood for what you say you stand for, and you make their leadership be integral, they would stay where they are. They love their land. They love their home. They love their heritage. They love all the memories that their culture and their nation reminded them of. They love their legacy. They love their ancestry. They don't really want to leave. None of us wanted to leave where our roots are, where we have stories and the mountain. We have stories of every mountain, every river, every stream. We are walking down the street. Your parents have a story. So you know the truth. Nobody's really coming here because they love. Even the settlers that came over here didn't leave to come into a brand new unknown world, caught, all these diseases, and because they wanted to. You guys know the truth. So it's only a matter of time, and you know that. So you guys got to keep up with the perception. You got to keep feeding that perception. You got to keep feeding it. And there's always an assigned time. There's always an assigned time. And you know that. That's why through all time, every tyrant, every dictator, every tribe, every people group always had an assigned time to fall. And they know it. That's why none of them just relax. None of them just lay back and say, oh, no, they know. They always have to keep looking over their shoulder. So you, my dear Greenwin representative, you have an assigned time. And life is going to come knocking on your door, reminding you that the perception you had, that you are somehow above, it's going to remind you that the same energy you like to give out and make people feel like they're insignificant, life is going to come knocking on your door. Life is going to come knocking and remind you that you are replaceable. You're replaceable. Just like you want people to feel like they're insignificant, life is going to remind you who is really the one that can make your life go like this. You feel so secure in your status as a wife, a mother, an executive and all that. Life has a way of making Humpty Dumpty fall and making Humpty Dumpty remember that in his pompous grandeur, he is breakable. So the twos have been popping up around, and one of the many beautiful things about, we talk about the twos, it's a cooperative, always aiming to bring peace and balance back to a situation. Some definition says it's supremely feminine. It's a supremely feminine force. Some of the definition says that it represents grace and power. And funny, my mirror work coaching company is called Grace and Ease. But the number 2 has been known to represent very, very strong sense of partnership. It's the best time to go into a partnership. It also says that it's the strongest intuition. Like when you see twos are popping up. So it popped up a lot today. So I just said to the Most High, thank you. I see you. I hear you. And I'm just documenting that. I'm documenting today. And today's a witness. We're going to play back today. And it's a strong day. It's a strong day. So for those of you that think that all of this is spooky wooky stuff, you can stay where you are. But I know the Most High created everything in a special day, and every day was numbered. Your every hair on your head is numbered. Your beginning and your end is numbered. Nothing is happen chance. Everything has an assigned day. It's numbered. It all depends on how you worship things. But I don't worship things. I respect the reality of the existence of the Most High's presence. So the twos always talks about, as I said, partnership, a coming together, a balancing out of two people, concepts coming together. And as I said, it's been stated that it is a representation of a very, very strong feminine force, and represents grace, power, confidence, yet composure. And it knows how to bring balance. So let's see what today is going to remind us of what it represents. So just coming on here to document my 3232, how it all came, where I left my home, the energy that came knocking on. So that's twice today. Again, it just came to me. That's 2 times today that certain energies came knocking on my door, and I just said, sorry, wrong address. And then my son said, Mom, and it's 2 of us that is at home right now. And out of the 6 that we started off with, it's 2 that's left standing. Very aware of what's happening. And I said, you're absolutely right. And he brought that down. He said, Mom, and there's 2 of us left at home that is standing. on integrity. I said, yeah. I said, I didn't see that either. He goes, yeah. Out of the 6, there's 2 left. 2 of us that's left. I was like, yep. Mother and son. So I said, you didn't see that one. I said, I didn't see that one, but yeah. And this happened with both of us on our walks and things unfolding. And he's like, I see it too, Mom. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, there's 2 of us. I said, yep, there's 2 of us, very aware of what has all happened. Not just today, but in the allness of our family's story. So there's more mirror work, more revelations that I would be popping up to reveal, to assist you in your mirror work, being able to see and sense what is really happening, what life is truly showing you in the mirror, what is really reflecting, what is being reflected. So I'm gonna go and end, and we're gonna finish our routine, our end of day ritual of hanging out and binge watching on Beastmaster, and let's see how this one ends tonight. So this is Lady O. Stay in action, faith, and possibility. Walk in and protect your light. Protect your light. Your purpose will find you. Say what you mean and live intentionally to represent that your life means what you say.